Watch this video to see if I can get this standard light fitting working on the client's Philips Hue smart lighting setup that they've got installed, or whether in fact it's just going to be a complete waste of money and it's going to end up in landfill. Job wrap today, basically trying to get this light, obviously it looks a lot nicer outside of the box, working with the customer's sort of Philips Hue system. So there is a couple of things. So with Philips Hue you can get a sort of like a traditional light. There's a little module that can fit within the actual sort of light switch itself to be able to work with a traditional one. But this particular one, we've got a few issues. First off, when the client was buying it, it said that it was dimmable. When I actually had a look at it, it's only dimmable via remote control, so that's not going to work with the dimmer module that we thought it could do. Also, when we've looked into it, it actually changes from a cool white to a warm white. So the client's kind of sort of challenged me to see if I can get that working onto the Philips Hue system and working with the colour changing the light. So most people who have tuned into this video to sort of see how I'm hacking the standard light to work on Philips Hue, you're probably all aware of what it is. But what I wanted to do, just in case anybody who's not used to sort of the Philips Hue ecosystem, just have a quick sort of look through what we got, how it works and so on. Philips Hue do an amazing selection of different lights, lamps, ceiling fittings, as well as the bulbs themselves. So basically what it is, it's everything all built into a lamp itself, or a bulb as sort of people call them. So in here it has all the dimming, all the smart features, and then what it does, it works off a sort of wireless signal to be able to sort of dim it. Also there's lots of different options. You've got colour changing, you know, from warm white to cool white. Then you've actually got sort of a full sort of RGB effect one where there's 16 million different colours within that. So comment below if you want me to make a video going through all 16 million different colours. Yep, this should be an interesting one. So the way they work is off a standard Philips Hue switch, which you can get. It's a European size light switch, so it doesn't fit onto the UK back box, which is a bit annoying. It doesn't work as a direct replacement. Third parties are sort of manufacturing switches to be able to work with them. This is one of my favourites. I've seen it. Very simple, elegant sort of light switch. So out of the box, that fits back onto a standard English back box. So you can go through those and then program however they want. Also, the amazing thing about these is these will just work on kinetic energy. So you never need to replace a battery. Just by simply pressing the button, generates enough power to be able to transmit the signal to the bulb and tell it what to want to do. What we need is a hub. What this hub does, it allows you to connect up to about 50 actual bulbs on it and about sort of 12 to 15, can't remember exactly, different accessories, so sort of light switches and so on. And then what that does, that then talks directly to the app, so that we can then go through, fine tune it. If you've any lights turned on, you can go into the app from anywhere, as long as you've got an internet connection, and control all the lighting within the house. So let's unbox the light fitting and have a look what we're going to be installing. So anybody that knows me knows that I'm really into my music. And what I thought I'd do on these videos is just help to promote some of the local sort of talents, artists, bands, producers out there. This particular track is by Johnny Swift, entitled Grab Alba. And it's on the End Is Now album, out on Seahouse Records. There, we're going to play it out in full at the end of the video, so you can listen to it in its entirety. So let's have a quick closer look at the actual light that we're going to be installing. So basically it's just made up 3 little rings. These can all be sort of hung at different sort of combinations, so you can sort of get a different effect with the lighting. The lighting itself, it's just got sort of LED tape within it, and within these ones you're able to change from a cool white to a warm white. So that's all done through the actual controller itself within the fitting and via the remote control. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be ripping all the guts out of it. We're going to be replacing it with different drivers, a different controller that we can then integrate into the Philips Hue setup. So let's start dismantling it. We'll take the bracket off that's going to fix it to the ceiling, and then we can have a closer look at what's going on inside. So there we go, you can see the driver now. So what the driver does, it takes it from 230 volts AC down to 24 volts DC. From there, it's then connected onto the cables. The cables, different ones, 3 of them take the actual power down to the actual rings themselves, and then the rest of the wires are just there for sort of hanging to the correct height. Also within the driver, it has a controller which communicates with the remote control, and then that allows for the dimming and the colour changing. So now that we've had a quick look in here, what we're going to do is start stripping it down, having a look at what's going on, and then I'm going to be showing you what replacements, drivers and controller we're going to be installing in here just to get it up and running. So we start stripping down the driver. We'll have a quick look at the DC end first. So as you can see there, the cables themselves are all soldered into the actual sort of driver themselves. So there's 3 cables. The red is bringing the plus through, and then the white and the yellow. One is for the cool white, which is the white one, and the yellow is for the warm white. So let's get them cut out, and then we'll have a look at the AC side of it now. So this is the AC side, what you'd expect to find, just a live and a neutral going into it. So again, soldered in, so we'll just cut those out. Okay. We'll get the driver ripped out, there we go, nice and easy. So that's it now, I've passed the point of no return. I have nothing in there, I'm just hoping this is going to work. So that's next to useless now. That and the remote control are going in the bin. We'll get rid of them. So now we've got it all stripped out, let's have a look at what we're going to be installing to get this back up and running. Fingers crossed. So these are the 2 components we're going to be installing within the light, just to allow it to talk to Hue itself. First part is the driver. The driver is very similar to what you use, like transformer for charging your telephone up. This converts 230 volt AC into a 24 volt DC current. Then this is then used to power the LED strips themselves. The controller, this is 5-in-1 controller, so it would do numerous different stuff. You could do RGB, RGBW, CCT, which is basically converting sort of warm white, cool white, so you can sort of go between those. So it's a very good bit of kit. This communicates with the hub, the Philips Hue hub, via Zigbee, which is a magical little channel. It sends it through, and then that then communicates, and this controls all of the dimming, turning them on and off. Within the driver themselves, there's loads of different drivers on the market. I tend to go for Power LED. Power LED we've used in numerous different jobs with sort of Philips Hue, Rayco, Lutron, lots of different sort of smart lighting control systems. I've never been let down with it. It's a great product. I'm not affiliated in any way with Power LED, although if you are watching, if you want to send me some goodies, I'm not going to say no. This particular driver is what they call a constant voltage driver. So clues in the name, it just provides a constant voltage of 24 volts from here, which then goes into the actual controller itself, and then the controller does the dimming. Again, there's lots of other drivers out there, whether it's sort of Dali dimming, triac dimming, you've got sort of 10 to 1 volt dimming. Again, I'm not going to go into that in this video. Later on, I'll do other videos just going through all the technologies. So just make sure you hit the button, like and subscribe us, just keep up to date. So let's get the controller and the driver out of the box and have a quick look at them. Then it's going to be judgment time. Are these two units going to actually fit within the fitting? Yeah, lovely. Get the bracket on top. Yeah, so that's going to fit lovely in there. And again, with a controller, it's only a small little thing, so that's just going to fit nicely up on the top. Excellent. So the controller itself is probably the most important bit. That's what's actually going to communicate with the Philips Hue. So this one does 5-in-1, sort of all the RGB. We're going to be using the CCT selection part of it. So it's just going to be the 3 cables. So we're going to have to sort of set that up, program it up. Also, we're going to bring in the live and neutral into the right side. And then sort of from there, the 24 volt is just going to come out of the driver. And then from there, it's just going to go into the little controller on that side. And then from there, that's going to do the dimming and then take it to the actual lights itself. So let's start getting it wired up. If you want to get hold of one of these controllers, I'll put a link in the description below. At the time of recording this, they're about £20 a pop. If you do click on the link, I will make a few pence, and it really will be a few pence at £20 a pop. As they say, every little helps. There'll also be a link to some of the other stuffs that I've gone through on, including sort of the Philips Hue. So there we go, the dreaded instructions. Let's have a quick look what we're going to be doing. So on the back of it, it tells you for the CCT option, you need to set it so the LED light turns to green. So there's a little button you press just there, and then that will glow up green. That then selects the CCT option from it. From there, you can see there's 6 cables. So we're actually only using sort of 3 cables, but this particular driver, as it says on the instructions, can actually run 2 lots of LED strip from it. So you've got your plus, you've got your cool white, and then the warm white. So just on the table, the second line up, you can actually see where it needs to go in. So the red will go into the volt plus, you've then got cool white and warm white. So let's get them in. So there we go, they're all in there nicely. That's going to tuck away to the top, supplied with a nice bit of double-sided sticky tape. So when we're ready to go, we'll just get that stuck down. So let's start stripping down the driver and having a look at it. So this particular one is a 75 watt driver. I've just compared it to the existing one that was in there and then sort of tied it up for it. So there we go, you've got live neutral one side and 24 volt the other side. Also, this particular driver is a class 2 product, so what that means is you don't need to bring an earth into it. So as you see there, there's just live and neutral. So when we're making the cable, it's important to make sure that the actual insulation of the cable clamps down onto the driver. So when you're cutting the cables, offer it up first and then strip it off just to make sure there's no excessive length, and when it does clamp down, that it's going to prevent the cable from being pulled out. So there we go, got them in there nicely. The white insulation of it is just going to get clamped down when we put the top on. There we go. Nice and tight in there, clamped down nicely. So all we need to do is just bring a 2-core cable from there directly into the controller itself, and then that's all wired up. So we get some double-sided sticky tape, make sure that they're going to fit nicely into the actual sort of top of the fitting. There we go, I can't believe how well they've actually sort of fitted in.
Also, once the bracket's on, everything's tucked away, it's just going to be sort of solid in there and it's not going to go anywhere.
So now that we've got all the new components inside the light fitting itself, we're all stuck down, wired into place. It's just a case of going through, fixing the bracket up onto the ceiling that's going to hold the light, wire it into the actual sort of mains cable, so with live, neutral and earth, and then actually configuring the controller within the Hue system to hopefully get this light up and running.
So before carrying out any work, you need to make sure it's safely isolated. So the circuit's been turned off. I've got my tester out and just confirming that it is in fact dead. I'd always advise to get any electrical work carried out by a qualified electrician. So here we go, put the bracket up, we'll get the light in, get it wired up, and then turn the power back on.
So once we've gone through the process of setting it up and getting the controller onto the Hue app and finding it this first time, what we can do then is turn the power back off, put the light up properly, and then from there, if we ever need to sort of reset it, we can actually do it via just turning the power off. So if you turn it off once, it will reset it if we never need to sort of re-find it for any particular reason, or if we want to do a complete sort of factory reset on that controller, you turn the unit off 4 times in a row, and then that sort of resets it. So once it's been set up, installed correctly, that should be the last time we ever need to get to it.
First thing we need to do is to set the controller up to the CCT option. So either press the button, every time you press it the lights flash, and the indicator LED, want it to turn to green. And there we go, it just says that we're on the CCT option. So once that's configured, we need to open the Philips Hue app and get the bulb programmed in. So we open it up. On the home page in the bottom right hand corner, there's a settings button. We press onto settings, and then that brings us into the other menu. From there, we're looking for lights. So we click onto the menu that says lights. And from there, on the top right hand corner, there's a plus button, which adds lights. Once we click onto that, the bottom, we just press the search button and off it goes, searching for the new controller. Once it's actually found the controller, what happens, it'll flash the light just to let you know you've got the right light. We then click on Start Configuration, and then we need to give the new light fitting a name so we can identify it. In this case, we're just going to call it Front Room Light. From there, we need to select an icon just to make it easier to find. In this case, just a round ceiling light will do. And there we go, that's all done. So click onto the Done button, and then the final thing is just to assign that light to a particular room. So we've put it into the living room, press Next, and that's it. Successfully added the light into the Philips Hue app.
So let's get the power off and let's get the light back up.
We'll turn the power off again.
Now that the light's all fitted up back to the ceiling, put back safely, we've re-energised the circuit, and it's just a case of untangling the cables and then setting the light out how we want it. And then if you stick around, we're going to show you how we're going to go into the Hue app, creating scenes and creating that bit of ambience. And then if you stick around to the end of the film, I'm going to show you a nice little trick using this existing colour changing Hue lamp to create a nice bit of ambience within the room. So, human-centric lighting. So, I've got all the big words today. So, what is it? It's basically lighting. It's this ability to replicate the natural sun outside and the way it goes through the day, rising up and changing colour. If you want another big word, it's the circadian rhythm. Waking up nice and early to a nice bright, sort of cool white colour, which is nice and energizing. Makes you want to get up and get out and about. And then as it goes through the day, as we're getting sort of towards more of night time, it's about sort of taking that little blue out of the white light and then sort of coming down into a nice sort of yellow light. If you imagine sort of the sunset, all sat there with a fire, the nice yellow sort of glowing light, which just sort of helps to relax you, just to get you ready for bed. So that's where really sort of the Philips Hue ecosystem comes into it. Once you delve into it and sort of the programming, there's actually abilities to change the colour temperature of the light as we're going through the day. And that's something that we're trying to replicate with this light. The fact that we can change those colours over. Now that we've got the light installed, and I'm so pleased that the colour changing feature works a treat on there, what we're going to do is go into the Philips Hue app and actually set it up as a scene within that room. So there's all the different rooms. Just at the top we've got living room, so if we open that up, that's going to show us all the different scenes that we've got. So the morning scene where it's nice and bright, we've then got the evening scene. So just to set it up within the scene, what we need to do is to click on the three little dots next to evening. From there, we'll be able to just adjust everything within it. So just down at the bottom, there's all of the different lights that are in there. You see the front room light. So if we click onto that particular one, as it comes up, we can then click onto it. We can choose what color, whether that's a warm white or a cool white. In this case, we're going to go with a warm white. We're then going to set the dim level where we want it, because it's nice and cozy at night time. We don't want a really bright light on, so we're just going to take that right down and just dim it, just so it gives a little bit of ambient light. From there, just click save, and then that's it. Within that, that's all stored. So again, if we click onto morning there, you'll see it. If we click back onto evening, there we go. You can just see how that dimmed it down. So just looking at some of the other ones, we've got into a sort of nice relaxed one. And then also we've got one movie mode, just when we're watching telly, just a bit of light behind. And then of course for those mad nights, we want a bit of a party, we've got that party button as well. And press that and it makes the room come alive. Right, thanks for sticking around to the video. As I said, what I was going to show you is a nice little trick that we can do with this leftover lamp that we don't need anymore. So basically, you get yourself hold of a cheap little lamp, get the bulbs screwed into it or whatever fixing it takes, and then what we're going to do is we're going to position this behind the back of the telly, just shining up, just to create a nice little lighting effect. So when you're watching telly, it helps you to relax. And there we have it. It's just a cheap little £5 lamp, bulb behind it, and then what we're able to do is to get that programmed into the scenes. We can have a nice relax, change it to a nice sort of warm yellow, and again, it's just going to help you relax after your busy day at work. We're going to be bringing you a lot more sort of Philips Hue and different smart lighting projects as we sort of go through. Our next one's going to be about sort of the TV Sync by Philips Hue. They've just released that there's a new app for the LG TVs. So we're going to get in hold of the app. We're going to be installing some compatible Philips Hue changing lights, and we're going to do a whole video on that. So don't forget to like and subscribe, just keep up to date what we're doing. So all there is left to do is just to leave you with Johnny Swift's new song. As I said, I was going to play it out in its entirety. If you want to find out more about Johnny Swift, if you go into the descriptions, I'm going to stick a link to all his Spotify and Facebook pages. Enjoy the song and see you soon.